Good evening, Ishani. You're also welcome from Odisha. Balasaheb Vakade from Pune. Then we have Paul Raj Sangita from Thothukudi. Nitya Nair from Muscat. You're welcome, sir. Oh, sorry, I think yeah, it's Muscat. Rukmani Jamdar from Maharashtra. You're also welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome, Barun Panda from Kolkata. Lucy Sequeria from Oman. You're also welcome. Rajendra Dange sir from Maharashtra. We're just left with, I think, 5 minutes now to begin with. Ananya Mondal sir from West Bengal. Nitya K. Nair. I'm doing good, sir. Thank you so much for asking. And Dr. Neera Kunal from West Bengal. Manasi Pamar from BITS Pilani. You're also welcome, ma'am. We have Ashish Yadav from University of Allahabad. Welcome, Ashish. We have Chandni Kataria. Good evening. Ramachandra Vani from Mumbai. B. Naga Bhavani. I don't know the place. A research scholar has joined with us. Yes, this is from Mumbai, Ramachandra Vani, Naga Bhavani from Hyderabad, Indu Prasad has also joined. Welcome you all. Damodar sir from Warangal, so welcome. It's such a nice festivity to be here on this platform when we come across people from all the corners of India as well as abroad also. We have Sanjay Kumar Sharma from Allahabad. You're also welcome. Gayatri K from Tamil Nadu. You're also welcome, ma'am. Then we have Lakshmi Krishnan. Good evening, very good evening from Tripura University. You're also welcome. The northeast part of India, the wonderful, beautiful part, the seven sister states. I think the very beautiful for all those who have not visited that place should go there. Abhijit Sarkar is from Meghalaya, again, the northeastern part of India, the beautiful part. And the beautiful people, no doubt. It's wonderful to be a part of, those in areas when you go as a tourist. Oh, we have Gulase Rajabova from Uzbekistan. You're also welcome. R.K. Reddy sir, good evening. Good evening to you.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Can you give the general instruction to the participants?
Can we start with the formal thing? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We will start in another 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll start with the thing. So general instructions, I think we can follow up later also. We can start with the welcome address, if you say. We have Nidhi Badola and Rajendra Dange sir from different places. Nidhi is from Parul University. Welcome you all. So during the webinar, as we all know, we have to post our questions in the chat box so that they could be taken towards the end of the session. And all of you are supposed to fill up the feedback form. Later on also, I'm going to tell you the details. We have Abdullah Shah from Tamil Nadu. I think we are already touching the time now, 4:30. So let's begin with the very formal affair now. So hey, once again, I would say good evening, namaste, and a warm welcome to you all. Welcome aboard. We are thrilled to have you in our online community. My name is Dr. Anita Sharma from Shimla, Himachal Pradesh, India. And today I will be your host in this exciting session. I extend a warm welcome and also delighted to have you all join for ELTAI webinar 129 presented to you by English Language Teachers Association of India. Friends, it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome our moderator of the session, Dr. Sachin Gadikar. I also extend a hearty welcome to our resource person of the day, Dr. Rani PL, Professor and Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences from Shri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Anantapur, Andhra Pradesh, India. Also, my greetings to the overseas participants who are all with us today, despite the odd hours like early mornings or late nights in their respective places. But friends, such enthusiastic attendees keep on pushing ELTAI webinar series towards the future numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is from Precis to prompting, the switch in ELT, English language teaching, is the one that deeply resonates today with our educators and language learners alike. We all keep on struggling to teach and learn the art of Precis writing, especially to the tech-oriented learners. We all understand that writing in any way is an art, not a mere science. The purpose of Precis is to simplify a complex content or a paragraph to grasp it easily for our future use. For me, Precis writing is both skimming and scanning by an intelligent reader. We will explore this powerful tool for teaching and personal growth in today's webinar. Before we dive into today's engaging topic, let's take a moment to get acquainted with the vibrant world of ELTAI. For those of you who are new to our community or simply need a refresher, we have a brief video to showcase some of the incredible activities and initiatives ELTAI is involved in. So I request kindly play the video. Thank you so much. Wow. Wasn't that inspiring? ELTAI is definitely committed to empower English language educators across India in a commendable way. Dear friends, before we begin, here are a few important points to ensure everything runs smoothly. Number one, please post your questions in the chat box during the webinar. We encourage and request you to stay with us for the entire session. Number two, certificates will be issued within the working 10 days. Please avoid sending follow-up emails immediately after the webinar to prevent further delays. Number three, a feedback form will be shared at the end. Please fill it out to receive your certificate. Certificates are available for school, undergraduates and postgraduate students, ELTAI members, and foreign nationals. PhD scholars are encouraged to join ELTAI for better prospects. Number four, check your inbox and spam folders for the certificate email. Keep a copy of the confirmation email after submitting the feedback form for verification. And number five is, we warmly invite non-members to join ELTAI for access to resources, professional development, and a strong peer teamwork. So you're all welcome to join us. So ladies and gentlemen, to oversee this discussion, we have a very charming moderator with us. Let me take this opportunity to introduce our esteemed moderator for today's webinar. Let me read a brief profile of our gentleman moderator, Professor Dr. Sachin Shankar Gadekar. He is an assistant professor at the Department of Peace Studies at MIT World Peace University, Pune. He has completed his PhD in English from Savitribai Phule Pune University. By the way, that is also my university as a PG student. He has guided 15 PG students for their mini projects and has 2 PhD scholars pursuing PhD under his guidance. Dr. Sachin Gadekar has published 20 plus research papers at his credit in reputed UGC journals. He has conducted various corporate as well as educational workshops in communication skills, soft skills, human dynamics, research methodology, and ancestral keys to success. Acharya Nirman and Vidyarthi Nirman. Wonderful job, sir. He has also authored 2 books titled Shikshan Kshetratil Vijayastam and Manume. He composes poems in 3 languages. That's a great, and I think all the Indians love to be trilingual here, and has a blog named Spandane Maji. And I think everyone should see Sarsino blog. I have just gone through it. It's wonderful. He also delivers public lectures on Shri Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in Marathi and English. Dr. Sachin Gadekar has been associated with MIT WPU since 3rd June 2019. Dr. Sachin has actively contributed in the curriculum development of Peace Studies program. I think that is the dire necessity of the day. Currently, he is contributing a coordinator for School of Health Sciences and Technology under Peace Studies. It's wonderful to introduce you to the audience, sir. You're welcome. And now further, without any delay, let me hand over the session to our moderator for today. Over to you, Dr. Sachin Shankar Gadekar.
Thank you, Anita ma'am, for that introduction. I feel humbled, and I'm really glad to be here, part of this wonderful series that is going on. I would like to introduce today's topic. I know a lot of people are here to listen to the resource person, a very appropriate and important topic. So without any further delay, allow me to introduce Dr. Rani P.L. to you, dear audience. Her resource person is a professor of English and Dean of the Humanities and Social Science, Languages and Literature at Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. She is currently serves also as a director of the women's campus of the university at Anantapur in Andhra Pradesh. She is an academic with nearly 3 decades of teaching experience in the higher education sector. Her research interests lie in post-colonial literature, media linguistics, ELT, and cli-fi. She is the co-author of the book From the Colonial to the Carnival, The Indian Tale of English Game, the story of Indian cricket from a post-colonial perspective. She has been an avid reader, an engaging writer, and an inspiring speaker. She has also delivered both academic and spiritual talks in many national and international forums. So we are really glad and waiting to listen to her. May I request ma'am to take over and enlighten us with her wisdom and knowledge that she has. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin and Dr. Anita, for initiating the proceedings of this webinar. I hope my audio is clear and my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Right, thank you. So, good evening, fellow academicians. It's really heartening that on a cold, wintry Sunday Christmas weekend, nearly 200 of us are gathered for an academic lecture. That itself, I hope, shows our inclination towards upskilling ourselves. And I'm really hoping the interest is not just in the certificates that will come after this. The interest, I believe, and I hope, is in the upskilling that is required, especially in language teaching across India. And I'm not sure how it is elsewhere. Most of what I say will pertain to what happens in Indian classrooms. So here we go. Maybe I should begin with a claim as well as a disclaimer. The claim is that although I'm an English teacher, I take to technology like a fish to water, having been a graduate of physics. Technology entices me, actually. And I feel that combination works really well. Who says language teachers are far behind the STEM educators in technology? However, the disclaimer is that I wouldn't call myself an expert, because the word expert is a very relative term. And one more point that I want to make in terms of the title, that's especially because I heard Dr. Anita, who introduced the session, talk a lot about Precis, because the word appears in my title, from Precis to prompting. The switch in ELT is the title. So while you might expect to hear something about Precis writing, this is like the biblical prayer. We pray in the prayer that we do, give me this day our daily bread. But we're surely praying for more than just bread, right? Similarly, this is only synecdochally Precis, but it stands for any writing skills that we have been traditionally teaching in our classes. To the shift that we need, the switchover we have to make to the new skills that we need to incorporate in our classes and inculcate in our students. So with that much of introduction, let me get into the session itself. It'll be good to quickly look at what are those age-old skills that we always look to inculcate in our students in an ESL class. Closing our eyes, we would rattle off LSRW. So our curriculum, our syllabus, our classroom activities, just all of it revolved around these, or developing these 4 skills in our students. Today's conversation will be restricted to just the last and the final skill that we expect a language learner to develop, and that is a writing skill. And as a part of writing skills, forgive me for my sore throat. I hope my voice is not too rough. As a part of writing skills, many of you who are here, who are my peer group or maybe a little younger also, went through typically these things as a part of writing skills in your general English classes, right? Letter writing. Long ago, they told us to write a letter inviting your friend to come home for a vacation, write a letter to your parents if you're in the hostel, asking them for more money. Those typical questions that every school teacher gave us. A little while later, of course, then came Precis writing, paragraph writing, composition writing, and with moving times, we also adopted report writing. And then when the digital era came, we moved to email writing. So letter writing, I remember a lot of books still in my shelf from the past. And we had different kinds of writing. It was a big deal, wasn't it? That you must write from and to for a business letter. You should not write from and to for the personal letter. If it's a letter to the editor, how should you do it? And I, for one, I always remember, I didn't know whether the to came first or from came first, and I always messed that up in my answers. But then now quickly moved to the digital era. Each of these found a quick alternative in the digital era. I don't know of anybody, just anybody. In fact, the other day when I was cleaning my shelf and I got some inland letters and stamps of the past, my father said, this is vintage property, because nobody writes a letter anymore. Personal letters are replaced completely with mobile phones, text messages, WhatsApp messages, LinkedIn, posts, FB, and name it. And all of that has come like a flood of things to replace the good old handwritten personal letters, especially the ones we got from grandmas and grandpas loaded with wisdom. Not happening anymore. Letter of complaints, you bought a product and you had a complaint, replaced with toll-free numbers, customer support, and name it, every business looks to give the best service. In fact, I remember writing letters by hand to Rupa Publications and others in Bangalore, ordering for 20 copies of the latest abridged version of David Copperfield for my students of English language class. But those days are not even imaginable by the digital era. Letter of apologies, we do that either if we apologize at all, we say, oh, sorry, or we do it on an email, over a phone call. Business letters are almost always emails. And I was curious when I was preparing for this talk. I went and quickly looked up, what does the Hindu do typically for letters to editor? And I actually cut and pasted here what they do. They say, can connect with you in all or any of the 8 social media that you see there. So nobody, I suppose, writes a postcard to the Hindu editor anymore. So almost everything that appeared in a general English syllabus of the past, that is on the left in the black, has been replaced with some other digital format. And now in today's times, we have something even newer to handle, which is what the talk is about. Maybe I can skip this. This is about email writing. I was intrigued also when I thought, the typical letter, the business letter, the personal letter format is something that the human mind came up with, right? From, to, place, date, through whom, and so on, subject. We wrote all of that by hand. The same thing is replicated in the email. And I just thought that means what artificial intelligence can replicate is only what the human being can make as a model, unless there is a natural model there. So in fact, in a conversation we had yesterday, Dr. Anita was saying, AI, my God, it terrifies people, don't it? Especially language teachers, and maybe even more the Indian language teachers compared to English language teachers for some reason. So I was looking at how did this human model get replicated in email? It's there, everything from, to, in that same order. Through is your CC, BCC. The only thing that I found missing was the place. And I thought that's because email can be sent from anywhere, and then you'll have to say in the letter whether you're in Japan or you're in New York or in India. The date, and of course, all of these are parts of it. Now, this is a scenario. Now, think of today if we want to. So we taught even these to our students at a period in time, maybe in the 90s or early 2000 or last decade when we moved to email writing. Now, what happens? So I tried this experiment this afternoon. Right, I want to write to the ELTAI president saying, sir, sorry, postpone my webinar. I have a sore throat. All I did was type out these few words, and in about 10 seconds, I have my email ready. So why would your Gen Z sit through your 40 or 50 or 1 hour of class, listening to the whole theory about first is from, then is to, then you have to write, dear sir, your email, I got this in 10 seconds. I hope this message finds you well. I'm writing to request a postponement of my upcoming webinar schedule. Thankfully, I didn't have to really do this. And I hope I'm doing well with my throat. But however, even this is now out of our curriculum. So what next? Are we going out of job? I mean, as much as my STEM colleagues would like that, but we are not going to go out of job anytime soon. And that's the positive morale that I want to also pump into the English language fraternity who is gathered here today. So what in writing skills? I'm not even talking about LSR, because all of that has undergone massive transformation in the digital age with regard to what you can do. But what in writing skills do we now teach in an English classroom? We can't teach letter writing. We can't teach Precis writing, because I just copy a whole paragraph and paste it on my chat GPT and it'll give me the summary. So why would I even train the students to read, reread, underline important points, pick up from that? They're not going to listen. However conventional we try to say the cognitive development of the child, the critical thinking skill of the child, it's not going to work because the generation is not hardwired for it. Then what do we teach? What exactly should our curriculum look like? What should we be doing in our English class in the current scenario, which also might be a past in the next 30, 40, 50 years? We can't just teach anymore. And I added just because maybe we still will continue to teach for the human element of it, not punctuation or not just punctuation, not just Precis writing, not just paragraph writing, but also this new funda, the newfangled thing called prompt writing. Which is why I thought it's very important to take prompt action with regard to training students in prompt writing by all of us who are in this, if we already haven't taken to it. So, and that brings me to the main crux of the conversation today, prompting. How do we move from teaching Precis writing to prompt writing in our classes? And to get in there, I just want to do a quick base structuring, just an ice breaking. And you can answer on the chat box, or you can just answer to yourselves or not answer at all. How many of us actually amongst the language fraternity know of AI? When I say no, not heard of AI, I'm sure all of us who are literate know that this word AI, it's buzzing all around, all over, in all places. And we also know what it stands for, the artificial intelligence. We also sometimes tend to look at it as something that's fearful, something that is horribly going to replace all of us and tell us that we have no place in any colleges or schools. So when I say how many of you I know, I mean, what exactly is it? What does it do? How can I make use of it? That is the question that I'm asking. What do you know of AI is the question you have to ask yourself. And if you know of AI, maybe it was exactly a year and a half ago, February 2023, that I was giving a talk to a set of people in the USA when ChatGPT was released for public consumption on a minimal fee, if I remember, of $20 a month or something. So after my conversation on a totally different topic, these worried parents sent me a mail, a sample that they generated on ChatGPT and said, what do you think is your future looking like? So when one corner of the world is worried we're going to be extinct, how many of us have even begun to use AI, and to what extent, how much, how far, and for what purposes? Which AI tools exactly are we using? Everybody knows the word ChatGPT, but what is ChatGPT? Are there any more? Did Google come up with something? What is OpenAI? What is Copilot? how much do we know of these things? Now, do I have to be a software engineer or somebody in technology to know this? No. If you and I, as English teachers, have to do this, this basic knowledge is unavoidable. How many of us know what regulations exist in AI use in education? Towards the end of my talk, I'll spare a few minutes to quickly tell you what the current frameworks are talking about. We are not anymore in the regular framework of communicative competency and other things. There are AI-related competencies at work. And then how many of our institutions are ready? Our students are ready. Our students are more than ready to generate their answers, their assignments, their thesis, their dissertations, their presentations, all of it through AI. But are we as educational institutions ready? And that's a larger question, may not be just for the ELT body, but then there might be administrators also here. Are we ready with a policy on AI use? And I will take on the last question quickly because this is the most recent thing that I read on the newspaper. This is about November 4th, a month ago. OP Jindal University, and we're talking about near home, right? We're not talking about a European or an American university, files a suit in the Punjab Haryana court against the results that were declared because the university said 85% or more of what he submitted was AI generated. In multiple ways. This is an interesting article and you should read because you should know what your students are going to come to you with in terms of arguments for or against AI. So what were the arguments that he had? Very interesting because he's also, I think, doing an MA law, IP, etc. And I just want to quickly quote one of the things that he says. Using AI tools like generative AI should not violate copyright law because the intellectual input comes from the person using the AI and not from the machine. It didn't just happen by itself. You didn't just get a script. You didn't get your answer. It just didn't come up magically. You gave some input and intellectual input, which is what led. So the input that you gave is still your own, which led to the generation. And that's the point that I'm going to make when we discuss this prompt engineering. He also quoted what is called the sweat of brow doctrine of IP law. And the sweat of brow doctrine says copyright is assigned to an author based on the effort he or she has put in. So I have put in, without my effort, there is no AI generation at all. So unless I have typed in my prompt, I'm not getting anything out of it. So that is a sweat of brow doctrine that will hold good in an AI scenario as of now. He also said generative AI has wide application, grammatical corrections we already have been doing for a while now, Grammarly, Turnitin, and all that. Paraphrasing, which cannot be regarded as, and these are not considered plagiarism, then why the AI generated content? These are some of the contentions that he raised. Since that's not the main crux of today's talk, I will now move on. And one of the, and I find this when I talk to students, when I talk to teachers, a common lack of ambiguity is the difference between ICT and artificial intelligence. Now, as ELT practitioners, we know that we went through many stages, right? Different phases of ELT when we talked about technology-enhanced language learning. When simple technology devices became available to start teaching English language. Then we moved to call the next phase, computer-assisted language learning. And we had a whole lot of things from language labs, state-of-the-art language labs to language software, to a lot of things that came up that we started to embrace as technology aid for our language classes. Then we moved from there on to mobile-assisted language learning because you don't even need a computer anymore. Your mobile phone will serve all the purpose. From there, my question is, have we now reached the next phase of ELT? A historic milestone phase that we can call AI-assisted language learning, which is why I like to call it all. Now, this itself should tell us there is a difference. Are they same ICT? No. If you used computer, if you used internet, if you used OHPs, if you used LCD projectors, if you used PowerPoint tools, if you used all of these, you are probably on the ICT mode. But AI is when you specifically go to those AI tools, AI apps, artificial intelligence, which can do anything that the human intelligence can do. So it is a higher upgraded version. It uses technology, but it isn't technology alone. That is a small understanding that we need to have. Now, I hope with if there was anybody in this audience who were thinking like Hamlet, to be or not to be, should I use AI, should I not use AI, should I keep it away 1 arm's distance, should I embrace it? In fact, a lot of studies, and I considered mentioning all the studies that have happened till now on AI and language related, but then I thought that is theory and that's something you can all read, but talking about something like a case study that is coming too is more practical, and you will benefit out of it maybe better. How is AI useful? This is very general, so I won't stand too far. Your Alexa, your Siri, your Bixby, online shopping. You talked to your family about buying a piece of furniture, and there pops up because your Google is eavesdropping, and so on. All these areas, AI is useful. Now, we are concerned as educators about how is AI useful in education. As you are running through the slide, allow me to sip a bit of water. These are some of the things that AI is. When I'm talking about curriculum development, let me give you a small experiment that I did. I needed to develop a course for a value-added course. You know, it's a 2-credit thing for 30 hours. I just had to ask AI, and in less than 20 seconds, I got a syllabus, and a fantastic one. But did I use it as it is? No. When we're discussing prompts, we will also discuss that. What should you do after prompting? Now, all of our learners are going to use AI for generating their content, whatever their content, assignment, PowerPoints, making PowerPoint, making diagrams, coming up with a solution to their equations, so on and so forth. So what are some of the things specifically we need to have? What skills for efficiently using AI in a class? The first is to be able to integrate an AI writing assistant. That means we have to choose the right AI. And we did an experiment in our department, and we also presented a paper which got the best paper award out of 150 papers on this particular thing about choosing the right one in the market. And as once again, step 2 is my main focus. However, it would be incomplete if I didn't talk about step 1. Is it good for the teacher, for an educator, for academic purposes to use the Gemini by Google, which is earlier called Bard? Is it good to use OpenAI's ChatGPT? Is it good to use Copilot that is coming integrated with your Microsoft Word, the latest edition? Which of it? Will they all give the same answer? If student A went to tool A, student B went to tool B, would we get the same answers? We did an experiment, and maybe you should do the experiment also. I will not spill the beans, but the results, the findings were very, very interesting. And I knew for a certainty that it is important for teachers to know which amongst the many that are available is useful for a chat, is useful for converting an image to a diagram, which is important for academic work itself. The differences are huge, and that's for another webinar. Let's go to the second step, which is now that you have identified which AI tool you want to use. Let's presume, because that's the one I use, Copilot by Microsoft. What do you do exactly once you have it integrated into your system? You have to feed a prompt. And what exactly is this prompt? What does it do? And step 3 is the human review and the repurposing or refinement, which I will mention in passing after we talk about the prompting itself. Step one, you can go compare and find out what are the best options available for your specific task. Prompt itself. Now, prompt is the question, the statement, or the request that you input into your AI system because you want to elicit a specific response. Please note the word specific response or a specific output. Prompt is a natural language text. You can write it in your own English, Hindi, Telugu. The other day I generated 4 lines of Telugu poetry, and I don't speak Telugu. I don't read Telugu. I speak Telugu. I don't read Telugu. So I said, give me 4 lines of Telugu poetry on this theme, and I got it. So I had to use only natural language text to describe the task that I want AI to perform. A prompt for a text-to-text language model can be like, here is an example because it's an English crowd. Write a poem in the style of Edgar Allan Poe about leaves falling. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, now how do I distinguish going forward between what Edgar Allan Poe really wrote and what my student will claim is Edgar Allan Poe's or his own, which is like Edgar Allan Poe's. That's an ethical question, and that is not for just one webinar, but for a whole seminar, I would say. So prompt engineers are minting money. The business that is now getting maximum salary, the students who are getting maximum salary are prompt engineers. And what are they doing? They are the ones who develop this technique. They design, refine the natural language prompts that we give. We don't know what's happening inside the computer, right? But what they do is they help the computer understand and give us more and more refined material. So prompt engineering for the STEM students, prompt engineering is a huge option, but the prompt givers are all of us. What are the basics 4 S's of prompt engineering? Simplicity, specificity. You don't have to know hi-fi, high sounding vocabulary. You should not rather use complicated sentence structure. You should be very specific and as specific can be. And my case study next will explain to you how specific you should be. Sensitivity with regard to culture, the space, etc., because AI is universal. And what kind of a structure you need, what format you need. You can ask for PPT, you can ask for an essay, you can ask for poetry, you can ask for a speech. And it is when you're mindful of these things in your prompt, that's when you probably will get the most precise, contextually relevant, and wait for my case study to understand this, and engaging AI responses. I will skip this. Yeah. So this is the case study that I want to discuss a little bit in detail as a practical thing that we did and understood the difficulties of teaching or employing AI in the English language class. So as a part of our oral communication in one of the semesters, our undergraduate students have to prepare a speech by themselves and present it to the whole class. Over years, they've been writing their own speeches. We even insisted, go to the library, these 4 books minimum have to be used as content for your speech, and so on. But having come to a point where we know that they will not do that anymore, we thought there's no point deceiving ourselves and the students. So this time around, I said, I'm going to give you the option to generate your speech from AI, using AI. So I took the whole bunch of students to the computer lab, and I said, okay, I'm going to work with you on producing your speech with AI. Your topic is, you have to create a content, a speech for Independence Day. Imagine you have to give a speech for Independence Day. So they all vigorously typed out what they had to type out. And it didn't take them, as I said, even 20 seconds to get a speech. So I went around checking the scripts that they got. And would you believe me if I said about 80 to 90% of the class, the script did not say Independence Day of which country and therefore the date. You have a whole script. And in my current scenario, I am expecting a speech on August 15th in India for its Independence Day. And you can use it for in any other context, you can change the details. But none of them wrote in their prompt. Everybody promptly went and said, give me a speech for Independence Day. So I said, why is there no mention of India or August 15th in your speech? Then it struck them that they had to say, please write a speech for India's Independence Day. So version 1 is the generic one. No country, fantastic speech. No country, no date, no nothing except a patriotic general country. So version 2, I gave them an opportunity to work on version 2, adding the word India's Independence Day. And this time, all the scripts reworked to add something about India, something about Indian freedom fighters, something about August 15th, 1947, and so on. Was I satisfied? No. So I asked them, where are you giving this speech? Meaning, are you delivering the speech in a school? Are you delivering the speech in an adult education group? Is it in a political rally where you are a political person? Is it in a freedom fighters group? Where are you actually? Is it college students? Is it school students? AI will make some modifications if you mention that. So I told them, feel free. When they were writing that, it struck them that they should check with me. Who are they as the deliverer of the speech? Meaning, am I speaking as the headmaster of the school? Am I speaking as the director of a university campus? Am I the principal of a college? Am I a freedom fighter myself generating the speech? Am I a high school student? AI needs to know that. The prompt went for the 4th round of change, where it said, give me a speech for India's Independence Day being delivered in a politician's rally by the member of the parliament, or replace it with whatever you like. Now the entire script was different. The tone was different. The vocabulary was different. The formalness was different of the script. And please remember, this was the 5th time my students were rewriting their prompt. Was I satisfied? No. I said, so how long is your speech? You didn't tell AI whether you need 100 words or 300 words or 500 words. You didn't tell AI whether you want it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You did not tell AI whether you wanted 2 lines of Hindi, patriotic lines inserted. They went for a 6th and a 7th round of prompt change. Believe me, now what came out was about 50 to 60% close to what we might like to have in a natural speech. That's when I told them we need to do one more thing. I allowed them to take a print. They were happy, view version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, version 5. So prompt writing is the thing that we have to teach in our classrooms now. And what does it entail and encompass? Critical thinking, logical reasoning, inclusive of all steps that should be there for a task to be accomplished most effectively. All these, which is why I had this thing here, but I didn't want to, for a want of time, I didn't want to, stop here. But all of these skills is what now the English teachers in our ELT should be able to incorporate. ELT is not dead. AI is not killing us. AI is just upskilling us, challenging us, making us think of a different way that our learners should be taught to do things that they're doing by themselves poorly as of now. So this is all about the prompt writing, the strategies, the importance, etc. What should you do with prompt writing now? It's not a script that is good enough, as I told you. It needs humanizing because AI is not as yet as developed to give us the best of scripts. There has to be a human review, but how does it help? Saves you a lot of time. A lot of time that you would have spent thinking, scratching your head, scribbling with your pen, editing 3, 4, 5 times is saved when you have a draft ready. But the draft would have been to your liking only if you have prompted with everything that you wanted it to look like. It is still your style. It is still what you asked for. It is still the points that you wanted to add. I didn't want to add the 2 lines of Hindi couplet, but maybe you wanted to. And maybe somebody wanted to add 2 lines of Telugu couplet. And so maybe somebody wanted the whole thing in Sanskrit. So it is still almost your own original work. What is needed is thinking skills and the right thinking skills. All of them that I just listed out. After you get your base paper, maybe a human review is good. We can edit the content, add personal insights, your own experience. Like if I had asked AI to generate this webinar for me, it would never have been able to come up with the case study that I'm explaining at such length. Never. It can give me, in fact, I did that and I was so dissatisfied with the results I got. In fact, AI is at its nascent stage and the answers that it generates are, I would rate them at 20 to 30%, which means AI would fail a test that I'm giving it. However, does it save my time? A lot. How does it save my time? Gives me a base thing to work on, and then I build up, then I add my personal insights, then I improve readability because it has got only its own fancy vocabulary, not the vocabulary that I want so accurately. I want this word in this place and that tone in that place is not what AI can do for me. Tailor it to the need like it did and ensure cultural appropriateness. AI is universal. Maybe what a Japanese student will generate has to be different from what an American student will generate, is different from what a Chinese student or an Indian student. So that humanizing, human intervention to the AI content is still a very important thing. We have to repurpose what AI has given us. So having said this, I will now ask you one question that might be bothering all of us. So what happens? Is creativity killed? Does creativity have a place in AI? Because as English teachers, we deal with a lot of creative work. We deal with prose, poetry, novel, drama, and things like that. So if you look at Amazon books, you will find that there are books being sold, like the one that I've just mentioned here, Om Golly. They are poems on humanity by an artificial intelligence. People are writing books in a day or half day. But please look at the name of the authors. Jukha Alho has written this book. It's a book of poems written in 24 hours. As soon as 2020 OpenAI, and in fact, I think there is a revised edition of this after AI improved its capabilities. But all you have to do is look at the co-author, GPT-3 AI. The version of GPT AI that is used becomes a co-author. I am finding research papers, believe me, where AI is a co-author. What is the way forward for educational institutions and for academicians? I wanted this not to be a pure technical session. So I thought as English teachers, it'd be good for us to read a little bit of an English poem that comes from Om Golly's collection, written, co-authored with AI. I quite liked it. If kites flew like boomerangs, I think the image is good. And all the stars were made of glass. The moon's face was a silver mask and the sun a golden apple. And I saw a storm of diamonds sow the sky with light. I saw a river of stars dance down the night. I saw 100 flying horses streaming through the sky. I'm sure anybody with a sense of literary sensibility will appreciate this. Should we improve our capability of appreciating the creativity that AI has also? These are some of the novels that have come up as recent, maybe 5 years ago. Why I put the earlier ones is to let you know that even about 10 years ago, the Japanese started to write short stories. The day a computer writes a novel. It's a story which is a joint effort of man and machine. This was a research group which did it. How the research team designed the story framework. And this is where I want to stop, and I want to tell you, the research framework still has to be the human creation. So if I want to write a novel, I still have to have an idea of what should the novel be about. Who is my character? Who is my protagonist? Is it a young man, angry young man, old man, wise man, American, Indian, 40 years, 50 years, software engineer, householder? Where should it happen? In the woods, in the suburbs, in an apartment house? My setting, my plot, my atmosphere, my protagonist, my characters, everything that we study as part of literature and its elements still has to be mine if you want the book to be as I want it, but assisted in my writing by AI, which I will still repurpose if I don't really quite agree with all of it. These are some other books that are there. You can Google and you'll get a lot more. So now, as for students of ESL, English as a second language, and for ELT fraternity, what is it that we need to teach? Do you still think we have to teach LSRW, letter writing, Precis writing, email writing, essay writing? No, no, no. We have gone past those stages. Maybe for just the just our satisfaction that we taught them something that is humanly done. But what we actually need to teach is thinking skills, the right. And this is something we've been talking about, but not really investing sufficient time, especially in the Indian scenario. We are promoting, I tell you what you should do, and then you just make notes by heart and come back to me. But that approach now will need to change, and the critical thinking skills, logical thinking skills, not just thinking skills, detailed thinking skills, to think in detail. Independence Day, yes, but which countries? For how many minutes? By whom? For whom? What else do I want as local flavor, the cultural flavor of it, etc. So detailed thinking skills, critical thinking skills, and in addition, creative thinking skills. All of this is what we have to now actually capture, because now departments with new fancy names will come up saying we are life skills training department, we are life coaches, and like that. So it's important for now language teachers, the ELT fraternity, to capture this bastion and say we are now moving from Precis writing to prompt writing, because that's what the world wants, and prompt writing is about teaching all of this.
Excuse me, ma'am. I think we are running out of time. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just close. I'll go to the closing slides. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm skipping all of this. I had some interesting things, but I really want to, these are some of my original thoughts where I said from age-old skills, LSRW, we need to move to new age skills. And I like to call it, instead of LSRW, CAPE skills. Comprehension, understand AI, comprehend what its possibilities are. Assess the right AI assistant and the right tasks that you can get AI to do for you. Prompting skills, how to specificity for accurate responses. And finally, editing and evaluation skills still haven't died, because you need to edit and repurpose your AI generated content. So CAPE skills is my formulation for the new generation of ELT. The ethical question, I will move this, but I want to say while ChatGPT is being used by 100 million monthly active users in January, only one country has released regulation on how this has to be handled. Some regulation is yet to come. Existing regulations, I want to draw your attention to UNESCO's 2021 Ethics of Artificial Intelligence, a very interesting document that I am so fond of. And in 2023, recently, UNESCO also in its ministerial roundtable came up with, in fact, it is the first time UNESCO decided that they need to come up with a roundtable on regulations for generative AI. We have heard of European framework, we've heard of CRF and all that, but right now UNESCO is talking about AI competency framework for teachers and students. Please take a look at this, because we have gone past all other competencies that UNESCO in its education site has been talking about. This is the latest UNESCO AI competency framework, and it has it for teachers and for students. What are the things that teachers have to remember? 3 things. We have to be empowered technically to use AI, ethically to use AI, pedagogically to use AI. Ethical concerns are larger concerns that should be guided by institutional, societal, and national guidelines, not only individual guidelines, but individual ethics is as important. Technically, we have to upskill ourselves. Pedagogically, how do we take this to the classroom as a part of our teaching methodology? With that, I come to the close of my presentation. Thank you so very much. I really hope somebody has benefited out of this.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that wonderful talk. I, as a moderator, would like to just sum up what you have said here. Really, indeed, it was a wonderful session. I must say that, it was, yes, indeed, somewhere it sounded like, was it an alarm for everyone here? As in the research language, we say publish or perish. So was it something people need to upgrade and update themselves? So thank you so much for highlighting some of the stereotypes or typical practices. Those have been there with us for a long time. And then you talked about how there has been a shift in the digital era. We all teach these general compulsory English subjects in some technical universities, technical departments, and everybody, most of the people here must have felt that yes, there is a lot of overlap, but yes, the emergence of ChatGPT, especially keeping in mind the Gen Z generation, and then the question that you started with was what happens in the ELT classroom. I was very happy to see when everybody's talking about putting AI away. It was a good, rather pleasant surprise to see that how we can incorporate it wisely, whether it is useful for education or what our learners are doing. That is also a good question. And yes, definitely, when my students come up with a letter or an email, you can identify in a minute it's AI generated. You have to work upon that and tell them that please write short emails, because as you said, there are no prompts by them. Then yes, the most appreciated thing I must say that was the experiment that you shared with us, that is real life learning, and all educators are here. I must be very happy that yes, how we should use this prompt thinking or prompts, whether from simplicity, specificity, sensitive structure, everything, and that is really helpful because the tools are with us, how precise we are. And I was reminded of my professor telling me in the research lecture that narrow down, and that was so much important for us. Humanization, yes, thank you for highlighting that part, because just getting a tool is not necessary, but learning how to humanize it, and then how we can be assisted by AI. Rather, the human intelligence, human creativity can be empowered, not overruled or overpowered, but yes, effectively used. And therefore, when you talked about creative thinking skills, or the last slide, I had to take note of this. There was technically, ethically, and pedagogically, we have to be ready, upgraded, updated, and upscale it ourselves so that we are ready for the generation and we are updated. So thank you so much for that wonderful session. Really appreciate that. With the kind permission of the speaker and the organization, I open the house for question and answer. All the attendees, please share your questions in the chat box, and we would be happy to take up some questions. I can see chat box is flooded with a lot of interactions, appreciation, and yes, very informative session. So the audience, over to you. If you have any questions, please put in the chat box so that we can pick up a few questions. Meanwhile,
the chat box is full of a few questions. You can check it out.
yes. Okay, let me start with Venkat Krishna. Could you please suggest few steps how to use AI generated content to the completion of PhD in ethical way? Okay. Please.
So the first, I have a couple. I've just off the cuff a couple of thoughts on this. One, PhD is meant to be our own independent, new work. So I presume that if you're taking the help of AI for your PhD, it is because you have already gathered your data, your thought point, your novel argument, your perspective, etc. is ready. You are only using the AI to put that into good shape. That's the first assumption, because it is original, the PhD work. Second, as yet, that's what I showed. No country is prepared for accommodating AI in education. The ethical guidelines are not yet framed by most countries. This shows that when technology grows, simultaneously the usage guidelines should come up. Otherwise, we will get into difficult situations like this. We are in a situation like that. However, there are AI detection software, and each institution, I believe, is currently, until a very wide, broad national policy is in place, each institution is talking about, along with plagiarism detection also. So that might restrict you from how much you can use. Having said that, to directly answer your question, you have your points, your data, your interpretation, your analysis. You might be able to ask AI to put it into a nice, neat format for you for the time being. Rather, you cannot be generating completely new data fictionally using AI. Let me make that clear.
Okay. Should we go ahead with the second question, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Sumana has asked, using AI may lead to distraction or over-reliance on technology. Are there any ways to teach not to be over-reliant on AI?
Once again, sir, over-reliance on
Yeah.
technology.
Using AI may lead to distraction or over-reliance on technology. Are there any ways to teach not to be over-reliant on AI?
That would be if you can think of assignments that just cannot be done using technology, which means different activities in the class which involve them. So we talk about participative learning, experience, etc., right, in today's world.
Yeah.
So the kind of task that you come up with in the class is what will determine whether they can do something totally without technology and without dependence. However, this is where I feel those of us who are conservative and those of us who are liberal both have to come a midway point, because if you leave out technology, technology will leave you out. And as English teachers, we cannot afford to lose if I can say, our livelihood. So
Right. The next question is by Dwaraka Rani Rao. How do you think a teacher can use AI to test the AI generated answers by students?
Yes, ma'am. The AI detection tool is also AI driven. So right from our plagiarism detection tool, for example, in our university, we have Turnitin, the licensed version, has also added an add-on for AI detection. So AI detection tools are, in fact, the case that I just quoted of the OP Jindal University, the student has been declared a fail or told 85% is AI generated only because the university could detect that it was AI generated content using the software, which is also another version of AI. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One more question by Gurupu Damodhar. Don't you think suggesting an appropriate title is important for Precis as it tests one's global and critical comprehension? Why is it ignored in some examinations?
It is. I mean, we can still do that for our examinations where they may not use, because most of us, let's say in Indian schools, are still in the traditional mode of examination, pen and paper examination. They come to class and they do. But please remember, it is the time is not far when we move to a technology-based evaluation system where they can just use the comprehension through AI and give us answers or Precis. They're very, very important skills. I for one personally do not undermine comprehension skills or Precis writing skills. But the point is that the new generation does not think so. And if forced to do comprehension and Precis, they are likely to take the help of AI, which will defeat our whole purpose of teaching them comprehension and AI. So through AI, we'll have to teach them how to comprehend things, how to assess things, how to summarize things, is my contention in this paper.
Okay. Or maybe the last question that I would like to address, that Nagalakshmi says that, ma'am, the curriculum upgrading is slowest when we compare to the development of technology. Even the assessments are not upgraded. How to handle this gap in real?
Very true, but curriculum updation is slowest with regard to technology advancement. You said, I want to add one more thing, ma'am, to what you are saying, and that is,
Hello. Is there any disconnect of the network? Dr. Anita, can you hear, ma'am?
No, I can't, but I could hear your voice. I think there
Okay.
is some disruption in the
In the
connection, ma'am.
network there, yes. Yes.
Let's take it forward.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the participants, the feedback link has been shared in the chat box. Please access that. There is a link shared for certificate attendance for ELTAI members and students as well.
So should I come in?
And, hello, ma'am. Are you there?
Yeah.
Dr. Rani?
I think ma'am has lost the
Okay.
connection.
Okay. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So friends, it was such an enlightening, informative, and a wonderful, session with two, things like Precis, promptness, and AI. And all these three things are difficult to handle by the English learners as well as by the teachers. So let me go at least, go towards the vote of thanks now, and also for the next, announcements. Dear friends, every session has to end. And what an engaging and thought-provoking discussions we have had today. Sir Winston Churchill, I would like to quote here. Broadly speaking, the short words are the best, and the old words best of all. So that means simplicity and familiarity will always be impactful. So that means AI has to be there, but let it be our server, not our master. This is what I got from our discussion of today. Thank you so much, Rani ma'am. On behalf of ELTAI, I would like to extend my hearty thanks to our distinguished resource person, Dr. Rani P.L., for her illuminating presentation with deeper insights and also for sparing her valuable time. And I'm extremely sorry to interrupt because we were actually running out of time. I'm thankful to our brilliant moderator, Dr. Sachin, for moderating the session and sharing his expert remarks. We are also grateful to him for summarizing this session and handling the question and answer session efficiently. Well, I think ma'am is back. Thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, your simplicity and that impactful, lecture that had really, won our hearts. Thank you so much for that. Well, behind the scenes, there is a dedicated team that works tirelessly to ensure the success of ELTAI webinars. I thank these seniors and mentors for their valuable and timely input. I'm also thankful to Kevin, a backbone of the organizing team, for his hard work and commitment to organizing these webinars. I'm also thankful to Mr. Rahul Kale because he was the one who persuaded me to host this session. Thank you so much, Professor Rahul. And a special thanks to our participants from India as well as abroad. Your active participation, questions, and insights make these webinars not just informative, but also a platform for rich discussions and global collaborations. Ladies and gentlemen, before I wrap up, a few more announcements. Please don't forget to fill out the feedback form. Certificates will be issued only to school, undergraduate and postgraduate students, ELTAI members and foreign nationals, as was told earlier. Please mark your calendars and save the date for our next insightful ELTAI webinar, and that we would be meeting in the next year, in the new year. On Sunday, January 26, 2025, we have a captivating session planned for you on the topic of Growing Without Borders, Fulbright Fellowships and Beyond by Mr. Chintan Sonavan from Florida International University, USA, and Ms. Riddhi Pankhatiwala, Yale University, USA. And this would be an interaction session with these two scholars, and they would share their journey as a Fulbright scholars. Now we have already have the posters for our next webinar. You can all have a look, and we would be looking forward to meet these two young scholars. Rest of the formal things are like the registration details and additional information about this exciting webinar are available in the chat box and also on our website. Remember, your active participation is not only encouraged but essential to the success of our events. Let's continue our journey of professional development together. Now it's time for a group photograph. I request everyone to turn their videos on so that we could see the beautiful faces of our participants. Please switch on your cameras so that we can have a group photograph. With this, I, Dr. Anita Sharma, wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So, ladies and gentlemen and friends, allow me to take your leave.